leverage your $1,000 in terms of giving it market clout. And remember, that's all guaranteed by the federal government because you have FDIC insurance basically, backing the security and safety of your deposit, right?
Right.
So you have much more market clout than you think, because most people say to me, well, I only have $200, $300, I don't have a lot of money. But it's amazing what the banks, our system is so leveraged on us that you have remarkable clout. And so the way I want to make this intimate for you, did you get a chance to look at the lawsuit that Baltimore brought against Wells Fargo for predatory lending in Baltimore?
I didn't examine it closely.
Okay, well, it's a wonderful example. Let's just pretend that, and you've seen the wonderful show The Wire, so Baltimore's the perfect place for us to talk about this. So let's just imagine there's a row house, like one of the ones in The Wire, right? One of those Baltimore row houses, and Wells Fargo has done a whole bunch of predatory lending deals on that row house and let's say it's appraised at $164,000. You've made that possible with your account.
God, they never sent me a thank you note. All right, so what happens if somebody doesn't want to work with a predatory lender?
Well, here's the beauty of what's happening. What Paulson did, whenever you say you're going to reorganize in Washington, everybody stops getting the work done and starts getting scared and starts fighting. And what Paulson has done is set off a major battle between state regulation and state bureaucracies and the federal one. So this is going to be quite a fisticuffing going on. And what that does is that gives politically consumers incredible opportunity to step in and say, look, we're going to support one side or the other, and here's what we want from this side. Here's what we want for us. So this is an incredible time for consumers to say, wait a minute, I'm pulling my money out of the big banks who are clearly important members of the Federal Reserve System, and I'm going to step back and support the really high-quality local either community banks or credit unions, and I stress high quality because they're not all high quality and they're not all on our side. But if you have an institution locally that's really circulating money locally and is really supporting ethical business and is really supporting real productive business in your area, that's the kind of institution you want to get behind. That's the kind of a guy we want to see winning in this debate and discussion. So it's one of those rare moments, Dennis, when the consumer can have incredible power because the system is so leveraged. So what I would say is if we withdraw our deposits from any of these institutions that we know are misbehaving, whether they're engaged in predatory lending, whether they're, acting as a depository for the U.S. government, which is missing $4 trillion. I mean, it's shocking to me. I say this all the time. When I look at people's financial, their deposits and their investments, you'll talk with people who are violently against the Iraqi war, and yet you look at their 401k and their bank account, and they're financing the Iraq war and don't even realize it.
It's amazing. And how can you be sure that you're putting your money in the right place? How do you find that out?
Well, you can't be sure, but it's this is a journey. It's like gardening. You plant something, you try something, you prune it, you change it, whatever. But the reality is, if we want to build a healthy world, if we want to transform our world, then we've got to clean our money, and we've got to make it attractive for local business leaders, local bankers, local credit union leaders to start managing business in an ethical way.
But if the Feds, if Bernanke and they're shifting the power, they're essentially once again sucking the wealth out of local banks to.
Right. Yeah. What they're proposing to do, both in the payment systems and migrating the state-chartered banks, is going to continue to centralize the banking system and make it very difficult for local banking and credit union leaders to do the right thing. And that's why, when it comes to the politics, what's going to count is the money. If tomorrow 10% of the deposits in the country left Wells Fargo, left Bank of America, left Citibank, left J.P. Morgan Chase, and went to the to the real leadership in local banking and credit union, then those guys could come to the table and would have money to talk. So, there's many more things we can talk about what to do, but the first thing we've got to do is we've got to put our money behind the good guys at the table, because right now we're putting our money behind the bad guys.
All right. Catherine, what about this for a part of our segment every week? What about a very quick lesson? What should we all do to learn a little bit more about community wealth and our community business?
Okay, that would be fantastic.
What about right now?
Okay.
What about just a very quick, we have a minute, so like a quick assignment for students of Community Business 1.
If you're banking at one of the biggest banks, you know what the big banks are at the big national banks, and if you don't know, I have if you go to Solari.com/banks, I have a list of what I call the tapeworm 20. If you're banking at one of the tapeworm 20, the first thing you want to do is, and there's a list on the website that says how to find a good local bank or credit union. What you want to do is you want to identify what are the great local institutions which are an alternative use. Step one is to find out just a list. You can get it from the Yellow Pages. There are many ways to get the list. It's all on the website. But the other thing you want to do, Dennis, is you want to take that list and you want to find out from the people you trust and respect locally. It could be the person who prepares your taxes. It could be just, somebody you went to school with or you work with. If you work at an organization and they have an accountant or a bookkeeper or chief financial, get recommendations. But you want to find people that you know and trust, or people that the people you know and trust. So you get recommendations, and then you go check them out.
All right. Well, that's a good assignment. Catherine Austin-Fitts, Community Business, every Wednesday on Flashpoints at around 5:30. Tell your brothers and sisters, your mothers and fathers, your friends, that we've got a translator from Wall Street to Main Street. Her name is Catherine Austin-Fitts. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Catherine?
Through my blog. Just leave a comment at the blog or communicate at Solari.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, see you next week. You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio. I want to tell you all that for the last 3 months I've been investigating Penny Pritzker because she is the subprime queen, the pioneer in subpriming. Her wave of houses are foreclosing even as we talk. Check us out. Check out our work. Flashpoints is on the cutting edge. We want to do more about it and force the mainstream papers to ask questions about Penny Pritzker and all the subprime bandits. They're torturing our future. Thanks for listening.
And that wraps it up for another edition of Flashpoints, which airs every weekday and is produced by Dennis Bernstein and Nora Barrows-Friedman. Our contributing producer is Robert Knight, our technical director is Eric Klein, and our production assistants are Emily Howard and Evelina Molina. Our Friday co-host is Francisco Herrera. Miguel Molina is our roving producer, and JR and the Block Report contribute to this program. Our weekly Best of Flashpoints program producer is Amanda Bellerby. To comment on today's program, please contact us at flashpoints@kpfa.org. Look us up on the web at flashpoints.net for our archive shows. Many thanks to our web team, and thank you for listening.
Rachel Corrie is the young American who was killed by a bulldozer as she blocked the Israeli demolition of a Palestinian family's house. She was 23. From age 7, Rachel wrote down her observations, experiences, and reflections. As she grew older, her writing evolved, revealing her personal passions and deepening concerns for the world, plus a wonderful sense of humor, in prose of amazing immediacy and beauty. Now her journals are being published. KPFA presents a dramatic reading by Rachel's mother and father and many young women peace activists on April 5th, a Saturday, at King Middle School in Berkeley. There's free parking and wheelchair access, and this event benefits the Rachel Corrie Foundation and is supported by many peace groups. Advance tickets are only $12. For full information and tickets, check out the KPFA website. For everything, Rachel, thank you.
KPFA